Good morning, sports fans. This beautiful Saturday morning, February the 12th, 2011. You're listening to the Cheap Seats on 96.3 WLCN. My name is Cameron Kurtz, out here at the Christian Village, and I'm joined this morning and every Saturday morning by my multi-talented co-host, Mr. Josh Komnick. And Josh, an interesting morning that we have out here at the Christian Village, and a lot of high school hoops going on, and we're getting to that point of the season where the regional and sectional seeds and pairings are coming out.
Yeah, it's time, make or break time now. Most teams have found out where they're going to be playing, who they're going to be playing, and what seed they got. And now it's time to get these games over with that you've got up leading up into now. Some are vying for a conference title. Some are just trying to figure out some things, as maybe the Railers are part of that crew that trying to figure out what's going on with their season, with their team, and trying to get prepared for the regional to make a run at Peoria.
And we'll cover some of those regional and sectional pairings later on, give you some of those seeds where Lincoln High School favors in the Class 3A regional. We'll also break down some of the other area teams in their respected regionals. But we're going to go ahead and turn to the scoreboard segment. In area high school hoops last night, Lincoln a loser 65-52 over the Cyclones of Sacred Heart Griffin in a game that was pretty much a fight until the fourth quarter. Lincoln gave up a few three-pointers and got a little lethargic there playing defense, and we'll have Coach Neil Alexander in the second half of the show, and he'll discuss some of the things that went wrong last night for the Railers. Olympia, a loser last night to Rantoul, 33-29 in a low-scoring game for Olympia. Illini Central, they were victorious over the Hilltoppers of Mount Pulaski, 66-54. Corey Titus scores 21 points for Mount Pulaski, and Entwistle for the Illini Central Cougars. He puts up 29 points in that game. Some of the Central State 8 scores that we have to break down for you are as follows. Take it away, Josh.
Yeah, Lanphier 71, Chatham Glenwood 59. Of course, Lanphier is one of those teams in the five-team regional that Roy S. Anderson Gymnasium will be hosting starting February the 28th. That was Lanphier 71, Chatham 59. 4 players in double figures for the Rams, and also the Lanphier is going to be our last game of the season at Lanphier. That'll be a heated contest, as it was just a couple of a week ago, actually, when Lanphier came to Roy S. Anderson Gymnasium. Peyton Allen, the talented freshman from Chatham Glenwood, scores a career-high 34 points. We're going to see a lot of him for the next 3 years. Rochester 53, Taylorville 38, and Springfield, another one of those teams in that five-team regional, 57, Jacksonville 45. Jacksonville is also the number 1 seed over in the Chatham regional, so a very talented regional coming to Roy S. Anderson Gymnasium, and those Springfield schools playing well right now.
The Springfield schools are playing very well, and a lot of those Springfield schools we're going to see in that 3A regional. Here's how Lincoln's going to favor in the Class 3A regional that will take place at Roy S. Anderson, like Josh mentioned. Here's when it's all going to go down. You're going to have to wait a couple of weeks, Railer Nation, but here's what we have. Monday, February 28th at 7:30 will be Game 1. Morton will be taking on Springfield High School. The Potters coming in with the 4 seed, and Springfield High School will round out that group at the number 5 seed. And I know Coach Alexander made a comment last week of Springfield maybe potentially getting one of those lower seeds, but it's not a true testament for how tough the Senators are.
Well, no, and the nice thing is we've seen both of these teams. The Railers are going to take on the winner of that Morton-Springfield game, and what's nice, we've seen both teams. One team we played really well against, the other team we've lost to. So it's going to be a tough first game. It's going to be a tough regional for the Railers if they want to try and get past this regional and into sectionals.
And pending how the Railers favor in that Monday and Tuesday game, Lincoln will take on the winner of Game 1 Tuesday night at 7:30. Wednesday night at 7:30, it'll be the number 2 seed Lanphier taking on Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin, and the Cyclones and Lanphier are 2 of those Springfield schools, Josh, that you were mentioning that can give any team a number of fits on any given night. And then Friday, March the 4th, 7:30, the championship game, the winner of Game 2, which is that Lincoln and Springfield game will take on the winner of Game 3, Lanphier and Griffin. So a lot of interesting things and a lot of interesting components that you take into consideration when you make these sectional, or well, regional seeds rather, and you put these pairings up together, and it'll be neat to see how it all plays out for the Railers.
Well, it's a very tough regional, maybe the toughest in the state. I was looking through a lot of the 3A regionals, and you always have those one, maybe two good teams in a regional, and it seems like the IHSA has stacked this one, because any team in this regional could really be a number 1 or 2 seed in any other regional in the state. And the Railers got their work cut out for them. You could say it's a good thing to be at Roy S. Anderson Gymnasium for that. You got to like your chances when you're at home, but the way the Railers performed last night, we've got some work to do up until March 1st when we play that first round.
There are some things that need to be done on Lincoln's side, but a couple of other area teams who are going to be hosting regionals for the boys' side of action will be Mount Pulaski and Hartsburg-Emden. Both Mount Pulaski and Hardham will be hosts of a Class 1A regional. The Class A regional for the boys, that's going to start next Monday. They're a couple of weeks ahead of us, so we will see how that is going to play out, but a lot of interesting area high school hoops to be played here in the next couple of weeks. And Josh, I heard the sounder. That means that we do have a caller. Caller, go ahead. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Pretty poor defensive game last night by our Railers, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't one that you would expect coming off of into a game that I think you get to prove some things to some different people, and of course prove to Sacred Heart Griffin that you are as good or better than them, and the effort exactly wasn't there on basically the defensive side. The offense, I thought we scored relatively easy, relatively well, enough to win, and the defense didn't show up.
Well, the offense wasn't there because you only had 2 guys doing all the scoring again. Is there any way that they got any plays that they bring these 3 guys in the scoring that averages 5 points a game? That's Kirby, Coyne, and Gessner. I've never seen many plays designed for them to shoot the ball. They do shoot it, but Kirby ought to stay in the gym a little longer, along with Coyne on them 3-pointers like Dimitri did. Maybe they can hit some of those. We need more scoring out of them guys. 15 points a game out of them 3 ain't going to cut it.
No,
it's... 2 guys doing all the scoring. Then, secondly, when they're sitting out there popping those 3s unattended, why can't we go to a man-to-man and try to stop that?
Those are some...
I know we own to play, and every team that drives up to Lincoln in a bus, they get out and they go in the gym. They know what defense they're going to see before they ever get there. Maybe we ought to surprise them sometime, try to play a man-to-man to stop some of those 3-pointers, because every one of those shots last night, there was nobody guarding nobody in that zone that we play.
Right.
We're going to have to pick it up. We ain't even going to get out of a regional.
And that's
a shame because you got a team rated. They've been overrated all year, Lincoln has. They played good ball the first couple of weeks of the season. They got down to Collinsville, and they started sliding, and they slid ever since. So I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, thanks for the call, caller. And you make a couple good points. But the thing I'll come back is, and I think if you play the effort that is needed every night. We talk about this all the time, and coaches, you hear them talk about it, that you don't have to be a talented player to go out and play hard. And I think if the Railers put forth the effort that they would on offense, that they would put it back to the defensive end, we have no trouble covering those shooters. And Sacred Heart Griffin, give them all the credit in the world, they shot unbelievably last night.
They did.
Sargent 6 of 7 from the 3-point line. But the thing is, if you really get down and play it like it's supposed to be played, we've seen teams that has been not even close to as athletic or as fundamentally sound as this team play the 1-2-2 and get the job done. And I think you make a good point where you could throw in a coax man-to-man for one play or 2 plays, but my thing always has been, if you don't play one defense well, then you're just at your par at another defense and your par at another defense. So if you can perfect one, which we're not perfecting the 1-2-2 by any means right now, but I think the effort has to get there, and you can cover those guys, and that's the thing. But give credit to Sacred Heart Griffin, man. They shot the lights out. They figured out what was going on. We didn't have active hands. You rarely saw a tip away last night, and that's what happens when you don't put a lot of pressure on the basketball. They get to pinpoint their passes all over the court. and they did it. And when you can put 5 shooters, at least 4 shooters out, that spells trouble for the 1-2-2.
And here's an interesting stat right here, Josh, and you hit the nail right on the head. They can pass the ball around. They have a lot more options. And this stat proves it. 67% shooting from the field in the second half for Sacred Heart Griffin, as opposed to Lincoln's 40% shooting in the second half. So a big difference and a big change there in shooting percentages after halftime, and that was probably one of the keys that Griffin was able to run away with. And Caller, getting on your comment there real quickly before we move on, as far as bringing in some of those guys off the bench just for a couple of quick plays, Coach Alexander last night in the post game, and Josh, you can reflect upon this a little bit, said that there's maybe not necessarily one given leader on the team who can go in and is just taking the load on his back.
Well, and that's true, but we've got to find some ways to get Brant Coyne down in the post. We've seen times where we've got him in the post, and he's done a real good job of finishing around the rim. We've got to find some ways to get him some easy baskets, and I think once you get an easy basket for Brant, his confidence rises. Now he steps out, hits a couple threes, and things just roll from there. Railers were 21 of 43 from the field, all. Pretty good shooting. I mean, almost 48, 49%. The problem was 4 of 18 from the three-point line, where the Cyclones were 10 of 21.
Mm-hmm. We have another caller. Caller, go ahead. You're in the Chief Seats this Saturday morning. Go ahead.
Can't let the season get by without calling in. I stand up there with Josh. Hey, Josh, I know you're a country boy and you listen to country music. Have you seen the video of Kenny Chesney, Boys of Fall?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell to you?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Standing back there in that red ring, listening to that, to the coach.
Yeah.
Uniform on.
Yeah.
How's that team going?
Well, if
About the team that you were proud to play for, the team that I was proud to play for.
Right.
Every kid that walked through that gym and looked at that regular floor and put on that uniform and said, tonight's the night. In that video, they talk about how the coaches talk about you're being a senior and this is your last game. Just think about it. If you're not going to college, this is your last game you'll ever play. So play this game the way that you're going to play your last game.
Yeah.
And he says to him, he said, how can you not be emotional about this game? This game is about emotion. It is an emotional game. Last night, I seen 5, 6, 7 players wearing white uniforms that were just skeletons walking up and down the floor. Hands at their sides, walking the ball up the floor. If Sacred Heart Griffin's going to slow the tempo down on you, then why do we play into their hands by walking the ball up the floor?
Yeah.
What has the pride and the
Why do you?
Of the Lincoln team that used to be the Lincoln team?
Yeah.
And I'll get off and let you go.
Yeah, thanks, caller. And you make up a good point. And Jeff last night was talking about it on the radio during the broadcast of the Railer faithful were kind of even just lethargic. But I said, the players have to bring that emotion for the fans to get rowdy or get clapping and yelling and screaming. And last night, for whatever reason, you don't know what you don't know what's going through their heads or anything. But we just didn't have the emotion last night, and it kind of fed into. I thought the student body was a little at a lull.
Sure.
The fans, but the Railers didn't give a lot of the fans a lot to cheer for, and that's why you kind of had a lull, I guess, of a gym where most of it was over on the Sacred Heart Griffin side.
Absolutely. And Josh, we're going to have to step aside, take a quick commercial break. And callers, we appreciate the calls that you're giving us this morning. If you have something that you want to air it out with Josh and I about regarding Railer basketball, regarding anything else in the sports world, 648-5510 is the number to call in. And Josh, we're going to step aside and take a quick commercial break. And we're back out at the Christian Village this Saturday morning, and before we took a commercial break, we were chatting it out with a couple of the fans of the Railer Nation and kind of discussing some of the things that went wrong last night. And if you have something that you would like to say, go ahead and air it out with us, 648-5510, the number. If you want to call in, you'd like to chat with us a little bit. But Josh, we're going to get to our trivia question for today, and some news that's coming out of Major League Baseball right now, and a lot of St. Louis Cardinal fans are keeping a close eye on this story as far as Albert Pujols and getting contract negotiations, getting him signed, and millions of dollars potentially $300 million over a 10-year period that could be spent on Albert Pujols, who is arguably the best player in the game right now, probably one of the better players that this generation has seen. But before we get on that, that's a whole nother subject on its own. Let's kind of think back to a different time, a time 20, 30 years ago when players weren't paid this obscene amount of money. We're going to go back quite a few years, and I'm looking for the name of the first major league player to sign a multi-million-dollar contract. There were players that signed contracts for just $1 million back in the late 60s and early 70s that on paper it was $1 million, but they really actually didn't get paid that money. I'm looking for the first actual multi-million-dollar contract player, and need the name of that player. 648-5510 for the trivia question. First correct caller to get that will get a free stay at the Lincoln Hampton Inn. And so, Josh, before we get going too much on college basketball and talking about the Illini, real quickly finishing up here, Lincoln High School action last night. The sophomore game last night, they were victorious 52 to... Well, the score is not important. I can't find it right now. But anyway.
We won. That's all that matters.
Yes, we did win. And Greg Alexander was very happy that his JV squad was able to put it together. Dane Eimer had 14 points in the contest last night. Will Podbelsic was the leading scorer on the JV side with 18 points. Tommy Harris had 3. Max Cook, 5 points. And Cody Highbreeder rounds out the bunch with 12 points. So, interesting thing there on the side for Lincoln JV action. And Josh, just real quickly while we're kind of wrapping up this thought on Railer basketball real quick, taking everything into consideration, it wasn't the Railers' night last night, and I'm sure when we have Coach in here in about the next 15 minutes or so, he could attest to that.
Well, we'll see how they come out tonight. You know, it's a different scenario. You're playing a team, Eisenhower, tonight, that really not a lot of implications on this game. One, I think the main implication is to see how the Railers come back after a lackluster performance last night, and coming into a game where there's no regional worries, there's no conference worries. It's an out-of-conference team. We've beaten this team relatively easy, although we didn't play well in Collinsville. We beat them already, and that's a sign. That's another caller. Caller, go ahead. You're in the cheap seats here.
It wasn't the first $1 million player, Ozzie Smith?
Actually, it was not Ozzie Smith. That is a very good guess, and actually that was one of the guys I was considering when I was kind of doing some research on this question. Good guess, but unfortunately that's not it. And the calls just keep coming in, and we've got another call.
They want that Hampton Inn
yeah,
stay.
They do. Caller, go ahead.
Catfish Hunter?
What was that? Go ahead.
Catfish Hunter?
Catfish Hunter.
No, it was not. That also is a very good guess, but unfortunately that's not. We're looking around the 1970s area.
Cameron, give him the position of this player.
Yeah, this is probably one that is going to take some time to understand. It wasn't a very well-known. Well, he was a well-known player. We'll put it this way: he was a pitcher. He was a pitcher to sign the first multi-million-dollar contract. Got another caller that's calling in, and caller, go ahead.
Go Lincoln Junior High Trojans. They're the team you can count on. Hey, baby.
You said they're going to state? Hello?
Well, I think that was I think that was just more.
He was shouting out for the Lincoln Junior High,
and there's another interesting thing there, Josh. You got a lot of the junior high teams in the area who are kind of culminating well-respected programs, and that's something that Coach Alexander appreciates. That these players are well coached and taught the proper ways and fundamentals in junior high and in grade school before they get to the high school level, and Coach Alexander appreciates that. We got another caller. Caller, go ahead. Do you have an answer for this trivia question?
How about Andy Messersmith?
Who's that?
Andy Messersmith?
Andy. No,
it wasn't.
Wrong.
I don't think it is wrong. You better do your research.
Really?
Well, the research that I have isn't showing that it was him. We're looking there toward the late 70s. We're looking for the late 70s. A pitcher signed the first multi-million-dollar contract. So this is, and of course, I mean, the information that I've gathered from, I look at about 4 or 5 different sources when I write up these trivia questions. But anyway, Josh, let's kind of keep things moving along here. We're going to go ahead and turn over to college hoops right now, and the Illini had some struggles there last week with Northwestern. They come out and play pretty well there the other night against Minnesota, and they've got a pretty tough test tomorrow when they host Purdue. That game is at noon tomorrow in Champaign.
Yeah, tomorrow is a tough one for the Illini, but they can right the ship now and get it going. You know, a lot of people were talking about NIT, no tournament for the Illini again, but a big win at Minnesota. This would be a huge win at Champaign tomorrow. If the Illini can pull this out, you got to like them getting in the tournament then.
And either someone wants that Hampton stay really badly, or they've just got something that they want to get off their chest. We've got another caller. Go ahead.
Well, I know I'm not going to win, but it's not a picture. I thought it was Ryan Sandberg.
Ryan Sandberg. That's who I would have guessed. Is that Bobby V?
Yeah, I thought he was the guy to get the first big contract.
Well, not to this one, although I wish he would have, and I wish he's still playing second for the Cubs.
I'm sure a lot of people are probably wishing that.
I remember one time I went to Wrigley late. I think we were at a 3-on-3 up there in the burbs.
Uh-huh.
Showed up, got some tickets on the first base line, and he wasn't playing. It was September, and Cubs were just murdered. The place was packed. Cubs are chanting Rhino, Rhino. He comes in, knocks a home run on Waveland. Have you come back and win it?
Good. I'd like to see a lot more of. Yeah, I'd like to see a lot more of Sandberg this year for the Cubs.
Yeah, or having Manny.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen because he got mad and took off.
That's right. Okay, well, Bob, we're going to have to let you go. We appreciate the call. Bob Verderber checking in with us this morning, and still no winner yet for that trivia question. We're getting closer. We've got it narrowed down thus far that it was a pitcher.
And what team, Cameron?
And
what team was that?
We're in the 1970s area, and
what team did this
the
guy
Houston
play
Astros.
For?
He played for the Houston Astros. He was a pitcher, late 70s. Need that name if you want that stay at the Hampton Inn. Okay, so
also may be called something Express.
Okay, you just want him to win it so bad, you're practically giving it away for him there. Okay, so we were talking about the Illini. They've got a tough test against Purdue tomorrow, and another team in the Big Ten who's got a tough test is going to be Ohio State when they take on Wisconsin tomorrow. Ohio State ranked number 1, Wisconsin ranked number 14. That's a game that's going to be played at 1 o'clock today, and it's been quite some time that we've seen Ohio State and Wisconsin when both these teams are ranked pretty heavily, and of course the Buckeyes unbeaten. Could we see an upset, Wisconsin upsetting Ohio State like they did a couple of years ago, that in 2007 I believe, when the Buckeyes had that big Final Four run? And we do have another caller. Go ahead.
Is it Nolan Ryan?
It is.
Yes.
Nolan Ryan, and without practically giving it away.
Yes.
Nolan Ryan, to the best of my knowledge from about the 4 or 5 sources that I gathered information from, Nolan Ryan was the first multi-million-dollar contract player to sign with the Houston Astros on November 19th, 1979. There were some other players in the late 60s and early 70s to sign contracts worth just $1 million. Some of them panned out, some of them did not. Pete Rose is a name that a lot of people consider up on that list in 1980 when he signed that contract with Philadelphia. But Ryan was the first one to sign a multi-million-dollar contract. I think that was a 3 or 4 year deal worth about $3 million.
And caller, what was your name?
Howie.
Howie. All right, Howie.
All right, well,
Howie will get you that stay at the Hampton for any time that you like.
Okay, where do I get that out there?
Yeah. If you can come out here before 10:15, we'll have it out here.
Well, I can't. I have the kids, but.
Well.
All right, well, Howie, here's what we'll do. We'll send it out to the Hampton Inn for you, and just stop on out to the front desk there and bring a photo ID with you, and they will hook you up out there. You can pick it up out at the Hampton Inn.
Sounds good, thanks.
All righty, and thank you for all of our callers. We had a whole plethora of them this morning calling in for that trivia question. And
yeah, and that's going to take a break here for a quick commercial break. We'll be back with head coach Neil Alexander. We'll be back in a couple minutes on the Chief Seats.
And we're back on the cheap seats out at the Christian Village this morning. Cameron Kurtz and Josh Komnick, and we're joined by Lincoln head coach Neil Alexander. And Coach Al, losing a tough game last night, 65-52, and a lot of areas and a lot of things that you want to take into consideration. Probably one of the biggest, though, is that low second-half shooting percentage for the Railers. Your guys just weren't able to get it done last night.
Well, the kids struggled in the second half. We got down, and the percentages are going to drop when you have to start chasing defensively. And when you get to where a team like Griffin holds the ball, and when they got a big lead, you got to come out and try and trap them and so forth. And when you do that, you spend a lot of energy, and therefore your legs get tired. And that's one of the factors in shooting, is having some fresh legs to shoot with.
Yeah, Coach, 29-28 at halftime. The Railers up 1 point. Going into half, we saw the first half that the defense really wasn't moving well, and we basically trading baskets. You said that in the post game last night, and read some things in the paper this morning that we just traded baskets with them, and it seemed to be okay with the guys. What went on at halftime on trying to figure out how we could stop Sacred Heart Griffin?
Well, evidently not much. We just talked about effort and getting out on them, and they do a nice job. They're very well coached. John Angelo does a great job with them. They've got a lot of weapons on the perimeter, and then Williams played very well inside for them. So, you can't chase Sacred Heart Griffin. You got to get your lead, and you got to maintain, and you got to play a very, very smart game when you play them. That's a group of seniors that have played for 2 and 3 years, and they're very schooled. And again, give credit to the Cyclones, because they they just outplayed us all night.
Yeah, defensively too. I thought they did a real good job. They couldn't really stop Nathaniel Smith. Smitty had 24 points last night. Jordan Nelson 19. But one guy that did a real good job, I thought, was B.J. Holmes on Jordan Nelson. If you throw out Jordan steals that got some open baskets, which he probably got 6, 8, 10 points from there, B.J. Holmes was hounding him. He didn't look to help on anybody. He didn't look to do anything else but stay with Jordan Nelson. He fought through screens. Jordan, I didn't think, got a good look all night, really, and a lot of that was because of the defense, B.J. Holmes. We saw him do that at Sacred Heart Griffin, where Jordan, I believe, had 14 points that game, and held kind of in check last night too. So when they've got a guy that can do that, it's tough to get by.
Yeah, and he did give them credit. Jordan sees that kind of defense every night. And
Right.
if you get officials that let them put their hands on their hips and things like that, it just makes it that much tougher. But officiating had nothing to do with the game last night. I think more so of the mental state that we took into the game and how hard we wanted to play. And hopefully they learned a very important lesson last night, because we're getting to the point now where it won't be long till you play, you lose, you go home. And we've always prided the fact on being prepared to play at the end of the year, and that's a concern that I have, is where we're at and what state of mind we're in. And when you get to the state tournament, the defense is what's going to carry you. And the coaching staff has really been watching the tapes on our defensive effort, and we've got a lot of room to improve.
Coach, you mentioned there about mid-season just how dangerous of a team like Sacred Heart Griffin can be. And you mentioned the excellent three-point shooters that they have. And last night in the second half, that was evident on the three-point line. 6 of 8, shooting 75% from beyond the arc for Griffin last night in the second half. That was an area that they took advantage of, and it seemed that we had a little bit of trouble defending the three-point shot.
Well, no doubt, and you had to chase them, and, we didn't close out hard. We didn't get there when the ball arrived, and they're also good enough athletes and basketball players that if you go running at them and they've got the ball, they're going to beat you off the dribble. And, they done an excellent job, and they took advantage of our lack of defensive preparation, and, they really put it to a test in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 26 of 45 is what the Cyclones shoot from the field, 10 of 21 from the three-point line. 3 of 3 from the free throw line. The Railers were 6 of 8 from the free throw line, 21 of 43 overall. You can't complain about the percentage, basically 49%, but 4 of 18 from the three-point land. Coach, we talked about this last night in the post game. 3 fouls for the Railers up until it's really basically the start of the fourth quarter when you and into the middle of the fourth quarter when you really had to start fouling because we were down. But talk a little bit about that and why that's, you should, not to say that the guy's got to go out and hack to be aggressive, but, you're going to get that over-the-back foul being aggressive, or you're going to get, caught not moving your feet, but you're on somebody and you're committing a foul that you're okay with an aggressive foul. We didn't have any aggressive fouls last night, as you can see, 3 fouls up until the middle of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 3 fouls is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That means you got to be basically standing around trying to get out of the way.
Right.
And, I felt like our defense pretty much looked like that last night. And, I hope the kids learned a lesson. We were non-aggressive. The defense has to be aggressive. And, we want hard traps. I'm not sure we've seen a hard trap in a while. There's just a lot of passive play. And, we've got to correct that. And I think the kids want to. I know, that they're very competitive, and I do know how they feel about how they performed last night. So, hopefully you'll see a different basketball team tonight.
Well, too, also, I guess you could call it last night was, in Railer standards, is kind of a butt whooping. When the Railers lose, it's usually, and what we've had this year is 1, 2, 5 points. We haven't had that game where we've just been basically outplayed. And it resulted in a 13, a 12, a 15-point loss to Railer fans. To us, a 13-point loss is kind of a butt whooping. What else can the guys take from this to hopefully go into regionals or go in even tonight? We've got to right the ship real quick. Like you said, only 2 games, 1 game tonight, 2 next week, 1 against Lanphier, and then we're like you said, 1 and done if you lose. And really for a lot of these seniors, that'll be their last game to play basketball. Some may have the chance to go on and play at the next level, but I know as an 18-year-old when I was in the locker room and you're saying, you got 1 more game to lose, and if you're done, you seniors are done. Well, you kind of don't think about it at that time, but now at my age or whatever age you want to be after high school, you're saying, man, he really was right.
Well, and it's hard for an 18-year-old kid to realize.
I agree.
And, as we grow older and the knowledge that you gain throughout the years, kids don't understand at the point in time that they're 15 to 18 years old that 4 years of their life is gone in a heartbeat, and you end up being old like we are, and, like me anyway. But going back to your question, first of all, our defense is a team defense, and it's not just one person. It takes a lot of guys to make our defense work, and they have to play together. They have to flow together to make it work. And we've got there's a lot of breakdowns in our defense. We're not moving. We're waiting until the last second to try to get to some place, and that is all about effort and doing what you have to do to make the defense stay together. And again, it's not one person's fault right now. It's a bunch of faults that we have. And, tonight is a different type of test. It's a team that's going to attack us. They're not going to be very patient with the ball. They're not going to want to hold it and make 10, 12, 14 passes. And, but you've got to be able to play against the different philosophies to be successful and everything. And, you take a look at this team and, up until last night, how close were they to being 25-0?
That's what we talked about it.
And people are, raking them over the coals. These kids have worked hard. They're going to continue to work hard. Granted, we weren't mentally prepared to play the type of game that we had to, but I don't think they do it on purpose.
No.
That's part of growing up, and you try to teach kids to be prepared, and that's one of the things that I like to think that we do is game preparation, being solid day in and day out, helps you prepare for life and doing things the right way. And but we had some breakdowns last night, and granted, I'm not happy, but I still like the kids. I think they're great kids, and and if I know those kids are going to come back tonight with hopefully a chip on their shoulder. And you know, I wouldn't think anything less of them. You know, when they do, because they're going to come back. And the things in coaching and putting a team together is when you have a long season like we have, you try to eliminate the deep valleys where you play absolutely poorly. You try to straight line it to where you play consistent basketball. You don't want to reach a high, you don't want to reach a low, but this team here has been more of a up and down team than we've had in the past, and it's just the character that the kids, and you just got to try to overcome it, and they've done that over time. But you know, they've got to get themselves focused. I still believe in them. I hope our fans haven't given up on them because of one bad night.
Right.
Because you know, they're fun to watch. They weren't very fun last night, but you know, you have those things, and I think if each individual would take a look back at their years and growing up, that there was days where they didn't themselves have a good day, and you know, unfortunately, these guys are in the spotlight, and you know, it kind of shows. But you know, you got to love these kids for coming out every day and working and playing and doing the best that they can, and you know, and they'll be there tonight. So hopefully our fans will support them and be there also.
And we want everyone to come on out to Roy S. Anderson tonight to see the Railers in a game that will probably be much different than it was last night, at least from our perspective. We hope so. 7:30 is the start time for that one. 7:30, unlike the regular Saturday schedule, this one will be at its normal regular 7:30 time, taking on Decatur Eisenhower tonight at Roy S. Anderson, a game that you can catch right here on 96.3. Join Josh Komnick along with Jeff Benjamin and Tom Larry as they break down the game. And Coach Neil Alexander, we thank you for your time this morning. We thank you for everything that you put into this Lincoln program, and hopefully some of those adjustments can be made this afternoon before the Railers take to the hardwood tonight.
Well, thank you.
All right, we're going to step aside, take a commercial break, and when we come back, we will sit down with one of the administrators from the Christian Village. Stay tuned. We will be right back. And we're back out at the Christian Village on the cheap seats this morning, finishing up our interview with Coach Neil Alexander, Cameron Kurtz, and Josh Komnick out at the Christian Village this morning, and we are joined by the administrator of the Christian Village, Doug Rutter. And Doug, first of all, thanks for having us out here. The Christian Village has been very supportive of our Cheap Seats program, and we thank you for that. And there are a lot of things that the Christian Village has been doing over the last year to help maintain that strong reputation that it has in Lincoln and Logan County. And first of all, why is it, what are some of the reasons that a person would consider moving here?
Well, there are really three sort of independent products that we offer here for seniors who are looking for residential options. One of those is for individuals who are living in a home and maybe, you know, they're tired of scooping snow, they're tired of...
I'm tired of doing that.
Absolutely. They're tired of keeping the lawn up, looking to downsize, looking to maybe join into a community of folks who are at a similar life stage. And so we have a large independent living community here. There's this congregate apartment building, and we also have a neighborhood of duplexes that offer that sort of independent living, individuals that really still have a full independent life, but maybe want to take away some of the physical hassles. And so for those individuals, we provide everything from, you know, maintaining the exterior of the building, doing all the yard work and landscaping, doing all the snow removal. We also provide meals for individuals who want them, laundry service, those types of things. The second product that we offer is a short-term therapy option, and that's for individuals who say they have a fall or recovering from a surgery, and the doctor wants them to have some intensive therapy for them to be able to rehab that and to go back to where they're living. And so we offer that option to come. We have therapists who are on site, and folks really get to focus on their therapy to get themselves back up to a place where they can go back to their homes. The last product that we offer is that long-term care piece that folks generally associate with nursing homes. And that's for individuals that really need that sort of 24-hour skilled care. Whether it's individuals who just need that sort of nursing care, we also have a dedicated wing for individuals who are dealing with issues like Alzheimer's and dementia, who require that more intensive care. And so there's a number of different options that we offer here for individuals who are really looking for a change in lifestyle and need those types of services.
And someone out there listening this morning or throughout the day on WLCN 96.3, and they're going around figuring out what's the best place for them in town, in Logan County, outside of Logan County. What are some of the things that a nursing home provides that I guess is good, or what should they be looking for?
Well, it's a great question, because a lot of folks, a lot of times it's children of aging parents who end up having to make these types of decisions. And so for them, they don't know where to start at all. And for a lot of people, they may not have ever been in a nursing home and don't know a good one from a bad one. And so there are a number of things that you can do. One of the first things is personal visits.
Sure.
And we encourage anyone from the community, if you have questions, I mean, even if you're making long-range plans, to make personal visits and come. You can call ahead, you can just show up and just visit the place, because the biggest thing that you have to realize is that this is going to be a home. And so it needs to feel like a home. And so go there, see the place, see residents who are living there, what's their daily life like, how does the staff interact with people, ask for a tour, have them walk you around, explain what the services are like, what's available there. Nothing beats that, the personal touch of being there and seeing how the operation really functions. The second thing that I would say is ask your neighbors, because generally speaking, community reputation tells you a lot about what happens and whether people have had their own personal experiences, had parents or loved ones who've been in nursing homes. And so the reputation that a nursing home has in the community can tell you a lot about what they do and how the services they provide. The government actually offers a tool as well on Medicare.gov. There's a tool that they offer where they actually compare nursing homes, and they collect data on every nursing home that participates in the Medicare program, and they gather that information from their annual inspections and then provide you data to see what that's like based on the results of those inspections.
In an inspection, you're talking about the state issued inspection. Kind of what's the process that goes within the inspection process, and how did the Christian Village favor when they came in and were evaluating?
Well, as you can imagine, nursing homes are a very regulated operation. Aside from nuclear power, we're the most regulated operation in the country. The inspection process is very thorough. It lasts anywhere from 4 to 14 days.
Wow.
And a team of 5 to 7 inspectors will come, and they'll spend all day in the facility. They'll look over every piece of operation, from nursing care to the dietary services to maintenance services to the physical building, and they're there to find what we're doing wrong.
Right.
And based on those surveys, there are fines imposed and corrections that are required. And it's a very intensive and extensive inspection of our entire operation. As a matter of fact, our last annual inspection was just 2 weeks ago. And you asked us how we did. Based on the results that we got back, we received a single deficiency in our survey. And to give you a point of reference, generally speaking, nursing homes in this cycle have been receiving anywhere from 7 to 8 deficiencies for every inspection that they have. So for us to have a single deficiency, which was very minor and something that was very easy to correct, we consider that really a really spectacular performance. I put it in this metaphor for this context. We were one batter away from a perfect game.
There you go.
And so we're really proud of what we've done here, and really excited about how we're going to continue to move forward.
And you talk about that, people that want to come and visit, or the kids of the parents that have to come out. How can they get a hold of you? Do you have a website? Give us a phone number, or when they do call, who should we talk to if they want to come out and learn more here about the Christian Village?
Yeah, on your Google machine, you can look up thechristianvillage.org, and we've got a lot of information there on the website. You can call us 732-2189, ask for Julie or ask for Marcia, and they'll be able to answer any questions that you have. And we'd love to be able to schedule a tour for you, maybe just help you talk talk through some of the decisions that you may be facing with your own aging parents or yourself to see how we can provide services to you.
Yeah, Doug, we know you're a big sports guy also, and we had you on it's been probably a month ago now that the Bears were still in it, but our Bears are not in it anymore, and the Super Bowl happened this past weekend. What was your take on the Super Bowl? And I'm sure you're Bear fan, not being a great Green Bay Packer lover, but they did win it. And what your take on the Super Bowl?
Well, again, I was happy to see an NFC team win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to be pleased with that. It pained me to root for the Packers, absolutely. But I thought it was a great. I mean, a lot of times those Super Bowls can be snoozers, and that we got treated to a really good game. Mm-hmm. And aside from the lyric change for the national anthem, I thought the whole thing went off really well.
Yeah, she did her own rendition of the national anthem. But too, I think you got to give a lot of credit to the people at Dallas also of not expecting ice, snow, and to get that many people in, flights, and all that kind of stuff. It really was a good game to watch. Like you said, there's been games where you turn it off at halftime because you're tired. It's already 2.5 hours long, and the game's only at halftime, and it's a 30-point blowout. But a good Super Bowl game, and our Bears maybe next year.
Absolutely, and I think as Cutler finds his place in the offense and gets a little more comfortable, we'll be back up there.
There we go.
Well, Doug, we know that you and your staff are doing a great job out here at the Christian Village, and all the different areas that you are continuously improving on, and obviously that state inspection is a true testament for some of those areas that you guys succeed in. Doug Rudder, we thank you for the time that you have put into the Christian Village, and we thank you for your time this morning, and thanks for having us out here. You guys have been a big supporter for our show, and we thank you for that. Doug Rudder is the administrator out at the Christian Village, and Josh, we've got just a couple of local items to mention here in our final few minutes, and probably the biggest thing that we talked about this morning was high school basketball, and the 58 minutes that we've been on this morning, we probably talked about that for 45 minutes or so. But taking a look at other local action, of course, Lincoln boys basketball tonight against Eisenhower, and something that we do want to mention was the Lincoln High School wrestlers had quite a bit of success this week. A lot of them went on to the IHSA Class 2A sectional. This is the individual sectional meet for wrestlers, and quite a few of them, there were, I believe, 7 of them that made it thus far. We've got Matthew Brewer, John Beverman, Luke Koenig, Marcus Farmer, Connor Schmidt, Zach Schlater, and TJ Kissel, those gentlemen making it to the sectional round of the IHSA Class 2A individual sectional wrestling meet. So our congratulations goes out to them. Hartsburg-Emden, their basketball team has got the Coaches versus Cancer game. The Coaches Cancer showdown against St. Agnes tonight at 5 o'clock. And Illini Central, they're in the exact same tournament. They'll be taking on Meridian tonight at 8 o'clock. So Hartsburg-Emden and Illini Central playing in one of those final tournaments of the year before you get into the IHSA postseason series. Lincoln College, both men and women's basketball teams, will be playing John Wood today at Lincoln College. The women's start at 1 o'clock. And the men's tip-off at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So if you want to go ahead and...
Yeah, and real quick side note to that, I'm going to be heading out to those games, and in between games, 2 of the maybe icons of Lincoln College for the last 45 years or something like that, Mr. Alan Pickering and Mr. Tom Zerkhamer, are going to get the court named after them today in between games at Lincoln College. So pretty neat thing. Guys that have been in this community for a long time and have done so many things, not only for the basketball program at Lincoln College and athletics, but the school in general. A nice thing that's going to happen out at the new Jack Nutt Arena. So I'd like a lot of fans to get out there and check that out, and also see a very good basketball game. This John Wood team was victorious over the Lynx, I think. I talked to assistant coach Corey Farmer last night at the game, and it was about a 22-point game, I think, at John Wood. So it's going to be another good game over at the Jack Nutt Arena, along with those 2 upstanding gentlemen getting that court named after them.
And you've got plenty of time to see the Lincoln College men and women's in action before you see that regular game tonight, a game that we'll bring right here on WLCN. And if you're not able to catch us on the air, we invite you to head on over to the website. That's www.WLCNonline.com. From there, you can listen to the game live as it happens tonight. Also, every episode of the Cheap Seats that we've had this year is videotaped and archived, so go ahead, head on over to the website and check that out. Josh, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for us out here at the Christian Village. We had several things that we were talking about. Some of those things we necessarily didn't get to today, but nonetheless, we thank Doug Rudder and his staff for having us out here. We thank Neil Alexander for taking the time out this morning. Hopefully the Railers can be victorious tonight. And we thank everyone for tuning in and listening this morning. And callers, we appreciate you calling in. We know there about 9:30 or so, we had a plethora of callers calling in on a whole strew of people trying to call in and get through. We appreciate your calls and appreciate your comments that you have. That's going to go ahead and do it for us on the Cheap Seats 96.3 WLCN. For my co-host Josh Komnick, this is Cameron Kurtz, thanking everyone for listening. And until next week at Jake's Furnishings, we'll see you down the road.